empecé. Oh, come on, Sissy.
Hello everyone, that's way too loud. Hello everyone and welcome back to Simple Signals. Do you know what? I say it I think like the past two streams now, Simple Signals, I've said about the demon, the little fairy which makes things go wrong when I'm about to go live. Just noise happens in the corner of on my eye. Things are happening just as I click start. But it just distracts me. It's not too distractive. Distracts me just enough to throw me off my intro. But regardless, hello and welcome back to Simple Signals. This is Simple Significance then. We are on Binance and YouTube tonight, but that may change. So for a preface, on Wednesday I think we are going to be going somewhere else alongside. So if I don't reference the streaming platforms I'm currently streaming on, then that's why. But we're back for another stream. It's been, it seems to be every single time I come back to do another stream, something really big happens for crypto, or the price just moves crazily. And if you've been within the crypto of today, if you've seen the charts, seen the price action, you will understand that there's no difference between any other time and now where something crazy's happened, and I'm going live. So we're gonna get into it. I'm quite excited. We're gonna have to do a bit of Dora the Explorer adventuring today because we're in no man's land now. We're kind of just in the air. So we're gonna have to do some bit of like a Juju TA today. So we're gonna have to be a bit creative with how we draw things, but that shouldn't stop us from hopefully making some big moves. Other than, I think there's links in the description. I'm trying to list off all the things I say in the intro. There's links in the description. I'm not going to all of them. I don't want to keep rattling on about them. Go check them out. Useful links down there, especially Telegram. If you've not joined Telegram already, please make sure you go join Telegram. There is our indicator in there. The link to the indicator helps me out a ton. So if you're someone who draws TA regularly and has to do supply and demand and whatnot, and these support and resistance points, it's a lot of effort, and it's very tedious. So I've made an indicator for Crypto Warehouse, which helps with that. So if you are someone who draws TA quite consistently, then do go check the indicator out. Over there, we've got a trading area in there, trading channel where you can ask me coins. So for example, today I think Seha asked for Litecoin. I'm going to cover that. Kishan asked for ADA. I'm covering that as well. A segue of the segue. If you've got any coins you want me to cover today, please put them in the chat, and I will cover them. So I think that is about it. I think I've listed off everything. Go join the links. Go check them out. I think we should just start. My mind always goes everywhere when I try to do the intro because there's a lot of things I need to say. But as soon as we move on to the content, it's quite straightforward. So I think we should just move on. Have a quick look at the price, some percentages, see what's generally going on before we go on to the first chart, which will be Bitcoin. So the Bitcoin price. 54,600, pretty crazy. Grab some water because this is something you have to take in. Obviously, I assume if you've been looking at any point during the day, you'll have seen this. But even before I was going live, I was watching the current candle 15 minutes ago, watching it just rocket up. So we're gonna have a look at that. But yeah, let me just prepare myself for today because this is gonna be a very crazy one. I'm gonna have to say a lot of stuff, which is gonna be again, like I said, a bit in the air. Could be a bit, out there because price has been moving so crazy. Again, when things are happening so rapidly, it's going to be quite hard to chart it. But what makes sense is we have such a large movement upwards. We're going to have some sort of retracement. But I think today's goal is going to be just some point finding the point we're going to reach for all these prices, and when we're going to start to fall down and where to. I think that's going to be the goal for most charts I look at. Not sort of, are we going to reach 50 million, this, that, the other. It's going to be, for me anyway, what price are we going to see ourselves slow down, and what price are we going to retract to? Because, we're not going to go up forever. We're going to eventually come down to something. So I guess that's kind of just going to be it. Dana, FG, and Rashi's, okay, I'll add them. Hopefully they're on TradingView. If they're not, I'll have to go to bed. But so Dino LFG. Okay, I'll look at them at the end at the stream. I normally cover the main basics of what I normally cover, like the general, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and then I might have a glance at one or two coins I've just been interested in, and then we move on to the coins you guys want me to cover. But I kind of do it. I kind of do the user asked coins, from the first one being asked and moving onwards. So the first one we do is Litecoin and ADA. And then I'll move on to everyone else's suggestions. But I think we should move on to looking at the percentages. So we've been pretty crazy for these percentages. 3,000 Ethereum. We broke it. I'm interested to see what the chart's going to look like. I can't remember what stream it was. It must have been last stream, which I don't even think. I think it might have been. It might have been a week ago. I think the last time I drew charts on stream was a week ago, because Wednesday obviously we had the AMA, which was a brilliant AMA. Anyone joined there, it was pretty exciting, especially a $10 giveaway per thing. We're looking to do more of them as we go forward. Kishan, the absolute goat. Please kindly don't spam, my friends. Yes, you know what? It's hard to get it's hard to get it in their heads because there are just so many spammers. But I'm glad you're asking, Lassie. Thank you very much, Kishan. I'm welcome to everybody here. Joining us on the stream. If you're regular or not, just say hello. It's nice to see everyone's names. I like to see people. Even though if you only joined once or twice, and I have been on stream while you have joined, I will hopefully recognize your name. So just say hello, and I'll say hello. But anyway, let's get on to it. So we reached $3,000 Ethereum. I think I did draw kind of a step process of reaching to 3,000. I did reckon on stream, I think we were going to reach 3,000 at some point. Obviously, we did break that, quite heavily. So we will look at that. I'm quite excited to look at that. If anyone was here from last stream, nearly $110 Solana. I don't quite remember what I drew for the charts. So again, we're gonna have a look at that quickly and see where we're gonna go for Solana. But again, like I said, before going into this, I kind of do have a sentiment of looking for a negative downside, because we have been rotting up. But we haven't really been going up for too long. I mean, it's been a couple hours, but it has been within today, so we could see ourselves, last this for a bit longer. Like I said, that is when. So will Solana go more up, or should we buy? So I'm gonna be looking at Solana. So the current agenda right now, I have a little notepad, is Bitcoin first. We shouldn't look too long at that, because I kind of have, for Solana, Bitcoin, and Ethereum, we kind of have charts already, so we're going to be decently fast with that. But Bitcoin, I'm looking at that first, then Ethereum, and then Solana. So just wait a bit, give it like 20 minutes, and we'll look at Solana, and then obviously move on to the other ones. But yeah, so that's I'm just trying to gauge some things I want to look at. I kind of like looking at CoinMarketCap just to see how things have changed and what we might look for when we go to the charts. Just a little precursor. But I can't forget one thing, which is Thorchain. This is my personal indicator. Actually, I should probably go find it on the list so we can see all the prices. This is my personal thing to look at. Obviously, I say this as a joke stream. How the sentiment, people say the sentiment of Bitcoin is kind of leads the market. Well, for me, and this is a personal thing, the movement and change of Thorchain is what brings the market forward or obviously downwards. And we are heavily up Thorchain, so I'm not very surprised that we're going up, because Thorchain obviously rules in my little land. This is a joke, by the way. Do not follow Thorchain, but it is kind of a running joke to look at Thorchain, because I used to see it every single stream when we were consistently doing like going to the office, me and Mike, and doing streams. The joke was looking at Thorchain because it was there so many times. So I do like to keep it there and just keep on looking at it, because it is something which was a bit of a joke back in the, when we were doing a lot of streams. But I'm waffling now. I think we should just go onto the charts, why everyone's here. So what I like to do, we kind of need to, as a collective, we need to decipher what I drew last week, because my infinite greatness is so expansive that sometimes I just forget. I can't keep all this expanse. There's too much for me to keep in this head. So sometimes it kind of leaves. So we're gonna have to kind of recoup the information and kind of gather along. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna hide some significant. I'm gonna hide some of this so we can kind of just see what's going on. So see what I've kind of drawn, because it does get a bit complicated. So I think I was aware we were in this kind of range. I can't remember when I drew these lines. I don't know if it was at the time or not. But yeah, obviously there was this range we had. I don't think. Okay, Saturday. So I didn't do it Friday, so I would have drawn this. It wouldn't have been on Wednesday. And Monday's today. So I think the only stream I did was on Monday, which would have been here. And it also would have been in the afternoon. So it was about here. I think I must have drawn these lines here. I don't remember drawing this arrow, but I must have at some point. Maybe it was on a stream. It must have been on some sort of stream. But obviously we did kind of have this general movement. And obviously I did point it towards this fair value gap. Obviously I haven't drawn any charts Saturday, Sunday. So going forward from about, here, I think it must have been a Friday. So going forward from about here onwards is kind of the area for the price action where I haven't seen yet. So it did seem like we continued to follow. Let me go on the 4 hour quickly. I'm trying to see this fair value gap. All right, yeah. So I did draw this fair value gap. I don't know how I must have drawn that on a Saturday. I haven't done anything today. But we have a fair value gap here anyway, which does seem pretty accurate, which we did enter into and absolutely rock it off. So that's pretty cool. And what about near? I'll write it down. I'll look at near after everything else. So I did draw this fair value gap. Don't exactly know when, but it was a very tight fair value gap. So very interesting to see. Very tight fair value gap. Entered it, and then just absolute skyrocketed upwards. And I can't attribute the movement of all these prices just for a fair value gap, but it is just about like a general. It is an indicator. If this was news based, obviously the fair value gap wouldn't have played out, but the fair value gap did enter. We did enter it, and then we absolutely skyrocketed up. So I can attribute some of this to the fair value gap. Obviously, we did enter the fair value gap. This other fair value gap, which I drew on the 1 hour, I believe. I don't know where I drew this. I thought it was it must have been the 4 hour I drew this on. Let me go back. Yeah, here we go. So, okay, that was the old fair value gap. We entered that and came down, obviously, and then we formed one here. I don't know where I drew this, but we formed one anyway. So I'm gonna ignore that. So we drew this box here. Oh no, this was a order block. So we had an order block here because we had pretty equal. Candles here. So I did point out this order block. I think I pointed this out on. I do it on Saturdays, yeah. So it was probably this Saturday where I looked at this. I did draw this on Bitcoin, and lo and behold, we bounced off the midpoint of this. We were basically staying within this order block. Obviously, now we have invalidated the order block, so now it will be bullish. So if we do retract, obviously, we're going to find out how much we're going to retract by, because I like to look back on what I've already drawn and kind of get an understanding of what the price has already done, and then go on to what's going to be seen in the future. So if we were to reach these prices at any point, we're gonna keep about 51.8 as a support, but that there's probably closer support points like 52.2. Obviously, we can see. So there's going to be closer support points, but I just wanted to point out this order block here and how it's functioned. So I think that's generally it for looking at the general price action of what we've already seen. So now this is where it's going to have to get not theoretical, but it's going to have to be something I don't really use as much anymore, which is the Fibonacci level. So I'm going to have to do this on the 4 hour to actually see something, because we have reached prices higher than this before. So we're going to have to go quite far back to see something, unless we do a higher level than we've already seen. But I'm probably, I'll do this over the week because we'll actually see something. Here we go. There we go. Let me zoom in quickly. So we can probably use from the high point of here to the low point of here and see the kind of range we're in right now. So this is, we're going to have to do this, unfortunately. But it is what it is. I don't really use this as much. I use this more so, because it's a fib retractment. So you can use the fib levels because they are the natural number levels, which makes sense. I'm not completely ignoring the fact that they are natural numbers and they can be functioned, similar. Similarly to how I used to use it quite a while ago and how we still use it. However, it is a fib retractment tool, so it basically the way it kind of goes is it goes off of actually interestingly. Let me add something here. Let me figure this out. So, do I not have a save point of the golden pocket? I do. Perfect. Okay, interesting. So, we look like we already entered it. Okay, yeah, interesting. So we have this range we're kind of in. And then we entered the fair value, this golden pocket, and then came all the way back down again. and we'll probably continue to see above. Obviously, this is over the week, so this is going to be ages. So this is I'm kind of looking at this over a long period of time, so we can ignore this. I'm just trying to see, just kind of not back test it, but just test it. So it looks like we entered the gold clock and came down 18%. So I just want to test that, see if it was valid or not. But we're not here for that. We're here for just the general. There we go. Just the general fib levels. I'm going to draw some lines here just to see exactly where we are, where we could go to for the price. So I'm going to draw this line here. So we've got 57.7 or 57.750 as a different point of our price. Obviously, I'm going to point out the highest point we saw of that 69,000 there, just to point that out as well. And what I'm also going to look for are different price levels where we bounced off. Well, not bounced off per se, but as in we saw some resistance or support. Now it looks like, you know, here we kind of saw the same thing, which is basically at this price point. So I'm not really going to point out too hard. I probably could point out this, but we're kind of already over that. So we can see, you know, back here, the 1st of March, we had a kind of retractment to this price point. Similar to here, we kind of came a bit above it, about a couple $100 above this price point. And then back here, you know, pretty much exactly to here, about 50,700. Oh wait, this is actually quite far away, to be fair. I'm kind of talking about this like it's something significant. I'm trying to see if there's anything really close. I think it's basically this level, which I'm seeing, because we had this price point here. Let me zoom in so we can all see this. This price point being about 57,390, which is, I didn't want to really point it out because it was so close to this blue point for the Fibonacci levels, but we can see, you know, we kind of have equal candles kind of bouncing off this point, similar to here where we retracted, where we came all the way back down, 15th of March, came all the way down and retracted back to this price point, and we kind of see a consistent, you know, consistent printing above and below this price point. So I'm going to point out as well, even though it is very similar to the blue point of the Fibonacci levels. So other than, I'm trying to see if there's anything else. It seems like we kind of bounced off this point exactly. So I'm going to draw this. There we go. So let me delete this fib levels and go back down to the 1 hour, just so we can actually go back. So we've got our price points now. So 54,640 was a previous point we kind of saw our price kind of, you know, wobble at. It seems like we've kind of came up into it and bounced, and not kind of bounced, but kind of retracted down, you know, bouncing off from this price level. I don't want to say bounce because it insinuates we would come all the way back down, but we kind of saw some resistance here. Obviously, you know, this could be a wick, so it doesn't necessarily mean we've completely come down, because we're still printing. We're still within this candle. It doesn't mean we've fallen now and that's it for Bitcoin. But I just wanted to point it out as a price point that we did see some sort of print at before. In terms of where we could go to, so we've seen this price. So basically this price action started about 3 o'clock. So it's happened over about 6 hours. So it's been pretty fast. Depending on, I'm going to look at the market cipher now. So from what it seems like, we are above the 60 mark. So we are very overbought now. You know, if this price didn't tell you already, we're very overbought. It's been constantly going up, and our market cipher is backing us up with that. You know, telling us we're very overbought now. Last time we were over here, we were at a resistance point, but again, like I always say, market cipher kind of tells us which direction we're going to go. Obviously, support and resistance and demand points kind of tell us at what point, what price point we're going to go to. So, you know, market cipher, I hate doing that. I always drag the indicator over the big. I don't know how that happens. But if I zoom in quickly, we can see the last time this kind of happened, we did see some resistance. But I can't really point this out per se, because it was we were at a support point and a resistance point, so it wasn't really that interesting. But we did have bearish divergence. Okay, interesting enough, we had a anchor trigger wave, as some people call it. It was just bearish divergence in general. So, you know, we had this bearish divergence, and then we absolutely rocketed down. But in terms of seeing anything interesting, it's not quite an anchor trigger wave, so I'm not going to point that out. But all in all, our money flow has been absolutely rocketing up. But let me see if I can go back. We've had higher points of money flow, so I'm not going to exactly say it's a really high point. But we are the highest we've seen in a while now. Well, not in a while now, but, you know, in terms of, you know, this action over here wasn't too crazy, but our money flow, you know, was very, very high. So, you know, we still had, we had indication that our money flow was way too high, and everything should have fallen. I'm getting distracted. My window is open. I'm just hearing bikes and bikes. Hopefully that doesn't pick it up on the microphones. But you know, comparing back to, you know, how we were, where we are right now, our money flow is very, very high. Well, not very, very high, but it is a lot higher, you know, than we saw over here. It is a general, it is a solid, healthy, normal money flow. It is very positive, and we're still going upwards, which is, you know, a good sign. But looking at our, maybe if I zoom out quickly to kind of compare what's going on right now, VWAP, as I always say, is kind of the trailing indicator for everything else within Market Cipher. So the way it kind of needs to happen is, you know, VWAP needs to fall for quite some time consistently for the momentum wave to start to cross and to fall as well. And the momentum wave needs to start falling for quite a while before our money flow starts to kind of fall generally. Obviously, you know, we can see over here, we can start falling for the momentum wave, and then we can still kind of, you know, we can see, we already, I mean, it's too much drawing. So we crossed here for the momentum wave, and then we crossed here for the money flow. And then if we go back to maybe over here, we already crossed. Obviously, you know, the VWAP is quite rapid, so it can have these quick spurts, but we did cross quite heavily over here. So we crossed for the VWAP towards the bottom. Obviously, we had this quick surge upwards, but we continued to go downwards anyway. So it's kind of an outlier. Then we crossed for the money flow to a general downwards, and then our money flow started to go downwards, you know, like this. Obviously, you know, we started to go back upwards. It was a bit rocky. You know, it was kind of a precursor to what was going on, you know, right now. But that is kind of, I'm trying to point out with previous data how the Market Cipher kind of follows this sort of structure of the VWAP kind of moves for first, and as long as it keeps on moving in the same direction constantly, everything else will kind of follow suit. So what I'm talking about right now, our VWAP is, you know, heavily falling downwards and consistently going downwards. So if we start to see our price, our volume weighted average price consistently go downwards, we will see, you know, money flow start to cross. And importantly, our momentum wave is above the 60 line, which is kind of this arbitrary number where it actually matters. So you can see we have these small little like movements in the momentum, which don't really play too much of an effect on anything really. So you can see here, like we were going down, we had a quick move upwards, so it wasn't really anything too important. But general big movements of momentum matter more. So obviously, you know, here, for example, we were below the 60 mark, and then we had a green dot, you know, suggesting us to go upwards, which was a general a trend change. So a trend needs to last for quite a while before it really matters. So for example, you know, here, we had a small move downwards and a small move upwards. That, you know, you can't really consider 2 candles to be a trend because, you know, you need a consistent amount of candles, you know, however many, let's say it's 5 candles, whatever. You need a lot of candles and a large movement for it to actually be considered a trend. So you need these big momentum waves for it to be a trend. And as an example, you know, from here onwards, with a bunch of candles, we're consistently going downwards, big momentum, suggesting to us that this was a trend. Now, the longer this trend lasts for, the longer it lasts for and continues to go downwards, let's say in this case, the more we should start to see signs that we should go back upwards, because, you know, you can't go down forever, you can never go up forever. So in this case, we were below the 60 mark, which suggests that our trend had lasted, you know, long enough, and we should see the end of it at some point soon. We saw the end of it, and now we're continuing to go upwards. And then now this green, you know, these however many candles it is, let's say it's like 5 or 6 or 7, you know, we've seen quite a big trend now, and we're at the 60 mark because of how rapid it is. So it was a short burst of a trend, which should start to see ourselves slow down now. And as you can see, we're above the 60 mark. So we should start to see, if we start to see signs of us slowing down, for example, our momentum crossed to give us a red dot, you know, we should probably really fall quite heavily downwards. So in terms of where we could see our price, I'm seeing this here. So at 52.8, we saw our price, you know, rapidly bounce off it, nearing, you know, here as well. We wicked up to it. Let me zoom in. So we wicked up this 52.8 point here, you know, 15th of February, and then we just came down. So nothing really too significant there. Then we come across, and the same price point, pretty much as over here, we wicked upwards and then wicked directly back downwards. Considering the fact we had a huge move downwards for the price, so coming off it, you know, rebounding off this price point, we had a huge movement. Now, if we come over here, you know, if 3 times makes a pattern, I think, I don't know who said that. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's like a saying or anything, but, you know, 3 times make a pattern. So, you know, we bounced off it nearing here, you know, bounced off it pretty evidently on about the 20th to the 20, no, yeah, midday to 20th of February. Now, if we come over here, obviously, this was probably mid-print of a candle, but we did wick downwards and then come right back upwards again. So we can see this is probably a consistent price point for our price to kind of, go between. So I'm going to point that out as well. It's a bit closer to the price than where we are right now, because I don't want to just point out 52.2, for example, and it'd be, okay, this really long movement for the price. This 4%, obviously 4% for Bitcoin, it's pretty considerable, seeing how big the price is. So I just want a closer price point, which is where you can see the price go down to. So I'm going to kind of suggest here that we should see our price kind of move downwards at some point. If it's not right now, we could still see some movement upwards. Again, we're on the 1 hour, so it might take an hour or two for us to see a movement downwards and kind of signal to us that we're going to move bearishly now. So we could have another candle or two, or maybe three, of movement before we see ourselves kind of come down. So we could see, because market cipher, it's not like a price-based indicator where, in terms of, it's not rapidly real-time updating. It doesn't really update really, really fast. So you can't just constantly read off it. Obviously the VWAP does update a bit faster, because it does if the price quickly moves down, the VWAP will start to move. So the VWAP is more because it's volume weighted average price, so it reads off how the price is moving. So with the momentum waves, which are I believe it's like it is also based off the EMA, but they're on like the 12 and the 24 days, so it takes more price movement for them to move. But the VWAP is quite of a kind of a live, it's kind of a live updating indicator. So it will take a candle or two for our money flow to start to actually move differently. So as I said, we could see, depending on if we follow the market cipher pretty accurately, we could still see more movement for Bitcoin upwards before we start to see more downwards. But I think, seeing as though we're very heavily overbought, we should be near, the train starting to slow down a bit. So saying that, we might, come upwards again. We might, come down to here, maybe, let's say, 54, and then we should maybe, within the same wick or two, come back upwards to our resistance point, and then probably see a movement downwards. So I don't see a clear movement upwards and a clear movement right downwards, right now. But I think we still might see a hoverage of where we are right now, maybe bouncing off the resistance point one more time. But I think to come downwards, I think we might come to about 52.8. 52.8 might be where we see the price come to. So that's kind of my assessment of Bitcoin. But I would look for some short at some point soon, because we've been going up for too long, and we're way heavily going up. So again, like I said, I wouldn't expect the price to come all the way back down to where we were at 51.5, but we should see it kind of retract within the middle of where we were. So I think that's it for Bitcoin. I've yapped on way too long for Bitcoin, so I will quickly move on. I don't really talk too much about Ethereum. Bitcoin's kind of the main thing I talk about. Like if I was to talk a long time about one coin, it would be Bitcoin. But yeah, so let's have a look at Ethereum. So this was the previous time I drew on Ethereum. I think it might have been like, I think it was a week ago. I don't think I've updated my Ethereum chart at any point recently. So I think we should quickly look at what I drew previously and kind of look from there. So it seems like we kind of followed my price action pretty accurately. Obviously, we bounced off this point a bit higher than I thought we would, but it was about a $10 difference, maybe $20 difference. And then we came down a bit more than I expected. But we kind of ended up at the same point I expected. It was a bit slower than I thought, but depending on your leverage, you might have got stopped out. But we kind of had this rickety movement. I would have expected 29.2 to kind of be a support point, but it seems like it was kind of, we actually slipped below it a bit, bounced off it, and then just bounced off our base layer for Ethereum, and then came all the way back upwards. But regardless, we still came to our 30,000 price point, which I didn't think was too much of a surprise. And then it kind of just seemed like we were sitting within this range from the last time I talked about Ethereum. And obviously now, seeing this huge movement upwards, we actually broke 30,000, about, what is that, a day ago, roughly. So very good for obviously we were testing about 30,020 pretty consistently, actually. So we were kind of bouncing off that maybe 3 times, obviously 3 times as the pattern, and then we broke it. I'm just trying to see if there's anything consistent for me to look at. We kind of had, I'm trying to see, maybe here. Yeah, this is pretty good. So we had a price point about here. Obviously, it came a bit above it than before, but whatever. So we bounced off it here, 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 and now we kind of used it as support. So a normal situation. I mean, you kind of see this before. I mean, you normally see this in like meme coins and stuff. I'm not saying Ethereum is a meme coin, but where they kind of have this action where they have this point. This normally happens at the start of a coin, where you might have hoverage of a price, and then you kind of break above this significant price very slightly, bounce off it, and then rocket upwards. So obviously, I could probably go find an example, but I'm not going to do that. But to kind of show that, if you squint our eyes and kind of look at, I think there's a thing actually. I'll probably use line chart. That kind of works, I suppose. We kind of came above this significant price point, about 30,000, 30,010, bounced off it very slightly, and then came back upwards. Let me move off that. There we go, candles. So, if you want to point out quickly, that is something you consistently see where you have a small movement of the price, and then you move quite rapidly upwards for Ethereum. So, we kind of saw a similar situation like that, interestingly enough. But again, I kind of say this, when we see this sort of situation for market cipher, it signifies to me that something's going on externally other than the price. I'm sure Mike's probably maybe talked about something. I'm not going to go look into it because I'm not going to look at the news right now. I'm obviously doing the price action, but normally when you see something like this happen with the price, something's going on with it externally, where you see this consistent like red green, and it's not really moving too heavily. Something's going on, especially when you're kind of hovering at this consistent level for momentum, yet your price is consistently just going upwards pretty rapidly. Obviously, we had a big fall off, and it was time. It was long due, considering how high we were above the 60 mark for the momentum. We did eventually fall. It seemed like we actually have an order block quite consistently placed about here, which seemed like we did enter it again. So I'm going to point about. I'll probably use this price point. So let me remove these previous points because it's kind of already happened right now. So we've got this price point here about 30,016. We've also got 30,037 to about 30,000. Not 30,000. I always do this whenever I go from Bitcoin to Ethereum. I always mix up the wording of it. But 3,050. It's got to be better when you've seen that. 305, I'll say. But you know what I mean. This 305 point for Ethereum. This is kind of the midpoint. Midpoint is generally what you see for order blocks. But you can come as low as the bottom of the order block. But normally you see, for here and here, for example, you kind of see the candle kind of stay above the midpoint and then go upwards. So I'm going to point this out, this order block here, as a price we could retract to and bounce off of again, probably about 3,100, 3070. There you go, I'll say that 3070. So 3070 is probably the higher point of this order block where we could bounce off it and kind of keep it as a support point. I will actually unhide some significance because there might be something considerable. Obviously, there is this high point here, about 31, 35 for Ethereum. So this is a bit of a closer support point. Obviously, we bounced off it and then had a big surge in our price. We had the same situation we saw earlier, where we bounced the price, whatever. As I was saying, with not again, like I said, not saying Ethereum is a meme coin, but where you have a consistent price point or something considerable for the price to move through, you kind of have a hoverage, and then you quickly break above it, have a swift move, to test it, I suppose, and then a huge move upwards. So similar with Ethereum, we're kind of staying below its price, whatever, bounced off it, had a movement downwards, quick movement upwards above it, and then a quick swift test of it, and then a movement upwards. So this might be a considerable price point, 31.35 for Ethereum. Let me try and make this a bit smaller. We're actually not below the 60 mark, so we're not. We're overbought. We are above the zero line. We do have a positive momentum. It is still going up, so it is bullish. But we're not above the 60 mark, which is a good sign. Which means we still have a bit more room to move for Ethereum. Our money flow is quite heavily positive, still going upwards. Obviously, we had a bit of a tumble where we bounced off this support point, but it is still technically going upwards. VWAP is positive and going upwards, so everything's kind of moving forward for Ethereum. Everything's moving upwards. So with Mike putting the box in Ethereum going higher, I also I think Ethereum's going to go higher. I think now that we've pointed that out, I think it's now to find out where we're going to move, how high we're going to move. I'm going to see if there's any consistent price point. Let me go back. Here we go. So I'm gonna unfortunately have to draw the. Let me zoom in. There we go. Unfortunately, gonna have to draw this ugly, terrible, big, fat money flow. Not money flow. What am I talking about? Fibonacci. There we go. Couldn't get the words out. Fibonacci level. So the last time we saw this, interestingly, very, 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 very interestingly, it seems as if the price point we were having trouble at, which I pointed out, was roughly this price point for the Fibonacci. So, interesting. Someone send boxes liar. I don't know what I'm lying about, but with that attitude, you're not going to get any boxes. But you know, I'm not doing the boxes right now. It's Mike on his phone. He's just watching the stream doing the boxes, so I can't really, you know, I can shake my fist at you all I want, but I can't really change it. If he wants to put another box, he can. But anyways, back to the chart. So it does seem like this price point near enough. Obviously, you know, seeing as though we went back to the day, we went back ages ago. If I zoom out, you know, this was April 2022, so this is quite a while ago. You know, we're going to have a bit of a price difference, about, you know, $10, $20, but still, you know, if you zoom out, if you look, the difference between these lines is negligible in comparison. Like, this is a consistent price point, and it seems like, obviously, you know, Fibonacci is never going to be a one-to-one price point of what it's suggesting, but, you know, regardless. So we've got that interestingly. If I zoom in quickly back in time and kind of draw some lines, let's see if we can find something consistent. Well, where we are of the price, we kind of have this line here. If I zoom in, so we can kind of see, you know, we kind of bounced off it, and roughly we kind of missed it by nothing. Bounced off this price point, you know, a couple times now. Bounced off it here, but, you know, this is on the day, so it's not going to really be something too crazy. If I'm actually going to zoom it back a bit, because it seems like we bounced off it here, we missed it by nothing over about the 20th of April, and then we kind of used its support over between the couple days of the, you know, my birthday, April 9th, and within this week. It seemed like we actually had an order block over here, but obviously it's going to be invalidated by now, so I'm not going to draw it. But this is like the most perfect order block. This is like Mona Lisa of order blocks, but then it immediately got invalidated. So I'm not going to really point that out. But we can kind of see that this price point we're at right now is something pretty consistent we've seen previously as a support resistance. So bear that in mind for now. I'm going to try and see if there's anything else over this time period. So we kind of had an order block here, which we used as our resistance, and we came above it, came into it, came above it, and then we bounced off it again. So I'm actually going to draw a line here about 3,300 as another resistance point. I'm new here. Well, welcome to it. I don't know if it's your first stream. I think it might be. Thank you for joining us. Hopefully this will be a good stream. Got any coins? I should probably say this a bit more during the stream in case people are joining or not. If you want me to cover any coins right now, put it in the chat and I'll put it down. We do have quite a couple of coins to go through, you know, externally from the ones I normally look at. So, you know, I probably won't do too many more. But if you do have any coins to want to look at, I will look at them. Try to see if there's anything else really important. I might not point a thing out. There might be something here, maybe, or here. Yeah. Okay, I think we've got our... I don't want to draw too many because I'll just infect the chart with awful lines. So I'm going to move back to where we are right now. So we're hovering at this support resistance point. So similar to what I've said, I think we might see something like this. Okay, picture this. Right? So move upwards. We still have quite a lot of room. As I said, you know, money flow going upwards and it's positive. Momentum going upwards, not quite too, you know, the trend hasn't reached its, you know, high point yet. And you know, the up is going upwards. So we've got everything kind of bullish for Ethereum. So we can still go upwards, you know, for Ethereum. I don't think we're going to immediately come down right now. So we might have a bit of a leeway when we go upwards. I think until we start to see our markets have to go down. So I'm going to try and kind of draw this trend. I'll use the path tool, my consistent trend drawing thing. So we're going to go kind of continue to go upwards. I'm not sure how high. Maybe, you know, not too much longer. Maybe here, let's say. And then probably another situation where we come downwards quite quickly, testing this support point and then continuing to go upwards again. Not sure if we're going to 3,300, but I'm going to just draw it there just in case. So we can kind of see this has happened a couple of times now. If I go back and see, you know, we had this support. I kind of pointed that twice now. where we have a considerable price point, we break above it, quickly test back down to it, and then come up to our next resistance point, and then kind of come back down again, and then similar situation, quickly kind of curving and bouncing off our consistent price point and then coming upwards. So we've come up to our another support-ish resistance point. So similar situation. We'll delete that now. So we've kind of seen this price action twice now. So pointing this out and looking back at the history, I'm just going to kind of guess to say we'll have this sort of situation where we retract downwards, come back here, and then do this. Something along this line, maybe. Let me just make sure. So, I'm going to point it out. We had a consistent price point here, about 30,000, well, 30.20. Quickly came above it, tested it, and then went all the way back up to our next resistance point. Now, I don't know if we're going to go as high as 3,300 and immediately go back upwards, but as I was saying with price action, if it was to follow a similar situation or a similar price action as we've already seen, we'll have this sort of situation where we kind of quickly, we print and stay above this support point or resistance point, whatever, this significant price point. Quickly kind of rise up to about 3,200, then test the support point again, test it as support, and then just shoot upwards again. Obviously, looking at this, these momentum waves, it does look a bit, suspicious and weird action. But I can only really go off what we've already got off. And like I said before I started really looking at the prices, this was going to be a bit of a theoretical, up in the air, analysis because of how rapid all the prices are moving. And I'm gonna have to look really far back into different, previous support and resistance points to try and gauge where the price is going to go. Because it's not like we're in a range or we're going down and we can see short-term support and resistance points. I can only really go off long-term things, which works pretty well anyway. Because long-term, if it's tested it over quite a long period of time, then I expect it to still work. So this is kind of how I see Ethereum going. Obviously, we're quite deep in terms of our money flow as well. If it starts to fall, we'll see a rapid movement downwards. I think what I can see happening, to back up the fact that I just said, we could see a retraction of the price quickly from the money flow, where we have this sort of situation. Our money flow is very high, continue to go upwards, and then if we start to come downwards like this, where we can, if our price can reach the high point which I was explaining, if our money flow starts to come downwards, we will probably end up seeing this price action which I just described here. So I don't think this is too crazy to say. I think this makes sense. I don't think this is too hard to say. So I'm gonna leave that there. I think that's kind of what's gonna happen with Ethereum. Obviously, if Bitcoin does something crazy, things might follow suit. But that's kind of how I see it going for Ethereum right now. So I've yapped on again way too long, so I'm going to have to go on to Solana now. Obviously, I'm not going to go too crazy on talking about Solana. So let me kind of look back of what I was talking about. So Monday. So I talked about it Monday, and then I don't think I talked about it Saturday. So the last time I talked about it was Monday, where I had this breaker block. Let me zoom it out quickly so we can see if it's something still consistent. It could be. We don't know. All right, there we go. So we had this breaker block situation. I don't know if we entered it. We did enter it. Obviously, I went to the 30-minute. You can probably see it a bit better. Where we kind of came down and then broke this point and then used it as our bearish breaker block and kind of bounced it off it as resistance and came all the way down. We had this bullish breaker block. I don't know how long ago this was. This is going on a bit now, so this might be quite a while. We have used it as support, and we came below it pretty crazy. But I'm going to kind of delete it because it doesn't really seem like something. It's too far away. It's too long term, so I'm not really going to pay attention to it. Pay attention to it because it's kind of already happened. I'm going to delete some of these lines because it's kind of getting a bit messy. I will pay attention to this because it did seem like we bounced off it. But we do, luckily enough, still have some high points for Solana. So it seems like after what we talked about on stream last time, which was about over here, not over here, but it was maybe over here. It seems like we did have this used as our resistance point, which we bounced off here. It seems like it is consistently still a resistance point, so I'm going to bear that in mind. So $114 could still be, in the books to see as resistance. Obviously, we've got about $111, $112 as resistance as well, which I've already drawn over a bit of a longer period of time. If we look back here, we kind of saw This action here, we bounced off this $110, nearly $111 consistently. We bounced off this twice. Obviously, we kind of used it as resistance as well over here. Obviously, until we broke above it and kind of had this, we kind of tested to keep above here. So we kind of used this, 4 times now as resistance, which is pretty good. So this looks like somewhat consistent at $111. So we kind of bounced off it 4 times. Obviously, came really below. Basically come to about $100. But we're creeping up to this price point again, which we've tested 4 times now and broken down below it 4 times now. Obviously, like I said, we did have this consistent point up here, but it wasn't something which lasted too long. And we also have this breaker block. So, for Solana, I don't really think anything too crazy to go upwards anymore now. So, again, like I said, Bitcoin, if something crazy with Bitcoin happens, like I said with Ethereum, again, the price will probably move a bit differently. But the way I see it going, our momentum is really high, basically near the 60 mark, but not too high. But always point at the 60 mark. But you could have situations like this where you're not at the 60, you're about the 39 mark, you're at the 40 mark. You're not quite there for the 60 mark, but you have negative momentum and you do move downwards quite rapidly. So, we don't necessarily have to be at the 60 mark, but we're quite heavily overbought for Solana, and we're starting to see ourselves slow down now. As you can see, we're starting to arc our, basically if you use the MACD, this is a similar situation. We have the two moving averages, and if they converge, might be the 12th day and the 20 something, can't remember, maybe the 21st. Basically 2 moving averages. But looking at that, we can kind of see it's starting to cross, starting to slow down, really starting to break down. As we can see, is represented by we're kind of bouncing off 100 and nearly 110 with 4 candles now. So we can see our positive trend is starting to break down for Solana. VWAP is going downwards. It's not quite negative. It's not below 0, but it's going down, which is quite bearish. Money flow is so dry. It is horribly neutral. It's not really going up, not really going down. It is positive, but it's not moving. So we could see it kind of VWAP continue to go downwards. Money flow start to arc downwards after this really flat movement for the money flow. And then, momentum starts to come downwards. So, similar to how I said with Ethereum, I think at some point very soon we should see things come downwards and maybe retract, probably coming towards maybe this support point at $107. We've seen ourselves bounce off it again. So, kind of a 2% movement. It's nothing too crazy for Solana. But, but as I said with Ethereum, we could have a situation where we actually, within this candle or two, we actually come back to test this $110 point and then come downwards, because we do have room for the momentum. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a situation eventually, if I can control Z enough, where we actually, we're starting to arc for our momentum, but actually continue to come upwards again and then come downwards. So like I said, there's some more room to move. However, I think we should come down soon. Things have been moving pretty crazy. For Solana, it's slowing down. It's not like it was one red candle and then continued to go back upwards. Over 4 hours, we've consistently started to not move. And no movement in a bullish trend. No movement is pretty bad. So I wouldn't be surprised if we start to move downwards again. Probably coming to maybe $107 this price point here. Again, we've only really tested it once. Well, we only really used it as resistance once, not really twice. But the next point downwards, about $105, is a lot more consistent as a support resistance point. So I wouldn't be surprised if we came down to maybe 4% to about $105. Wouldn't be surprised if we moved that low. So there it is. Kishan, why ask when you can earn free? Exactly. I've been seeing a lot of people like, oh, cheap. If you just followed, if you stopped yapping on about how little the money is, they're not meant to be. They're not meant to change your life. Okay, they're just something. A little bit of fun. Put something funny in the chat and get a bit of SHIB. It doesn't really matter. Okay, if you want to actually earn money, it takes money or time to earn money. You can't just talk. Okay, because you're not providing your time as labor or whatnot, and you're not providing your money, because in a normal job you provide your time and your knowledge for money. Obviously in trading you do have knowledge, but you're providing your capital for more capital. So you're not, but talking in a chat asking for money, you're not providing anything. You're not doing anything. You're not making anything. You're not doing anything. You're not spending your time. You're not giving knowledge. You're not doing actually anything. You're literally wasting your life trying to do this. So what I advise is either you listen to what I'm saying instead of yapping, and maybe, obviously not financial advice, I need to make sure I say that, maybe take note of what I'm saying, maybe learn to trade, and maybe make some money for yourself, rather than saying, oh, give me $5, because no one's going to give you $5. No one's ever going to do that. Why would anyone? There's literally no point. So either spend your time trading, do something productive. I'd rather you leave the live and go start to learn something and go get a job, than you ask for $5 constantly, because you're never going to get it. And nobody goes to that download link, which Ruka21, it's probably a scam. I haven't vetted it. Don't bother. It literally has a code in there. It's an affiliate system. He's gonna when you sign up, he's gonna get given money. So he's probably not in your best interest. But either learn how to trade, follow. Obviously, I don't teach people. I don't have a one-on-one teaching. Obviously, that could be something happen. That could happen in the future. Where we could do some teaching system. But just follow the lives. Ask questions. If you are learning to trade, ask me questions. There's no shame or anything. Ask me a question. If I see it, I will answer you. Obviously, if it takes me 10 minutes to answer the question, I might not do it. But if you ask me, why do I do this, or anything like that, just I'm not saying I'm the best trader out there, but I'm doing this for free. Obviously, if you want to donate or do anything like that I would thank you. But just being here and supporting and watching the live and just commenting, that is more than enough for me. Okay. But if you want to ask me questions or just watch me do things and ask me as I'm going along, if you're trying to learn, then do so. If you want this market cipher system, obviously this is kind of a re-implementation which I made. If you do want this market cipher, wink, wink, hush, hush, go to the Telegram and ask me, and I will send you this link. So this market cipher A, simple significance, and market cipher B, all the three things I use, I can give you for free. If you come to the Telegram and ask me, I will send you the link. So all the things I do, you can do. And if you use my system, obviously don't have to. You can make your own system. But if you want to use what I do, come ask me and I'll give it to you. And then just ask me questions. So all this content I'm providing you and all this teaching and asking, just follow that if you do want to earn money. Obviously not financial advice. And if you want to ask for a coin to be covered, just tell me and I'll cover it. I do have a lot. That being said, I do have a lot of coins to cover, so I need to kind of keep going at this. But as I've been yapping on at this guy who's been asking for money, you're not going to get any money. Firstly, we actually start to see we're actually printing negatively. It has turned 10 o'clock. The bell has strung, dong, like that. The big church bell has struck itself, and it seems like we are actually starting to print out a negative momentum wave. Money flow. This is perfect. Money flow is going downwards. VWAP is negative and going downwards. Momentum's going downwards. Our price is now also really heavily going downwards. I think we could see ourselves fall to about $105. So as you can see live right now, I'm not I'm not a god or anything. However, I could compare myself to it. But yeah, Solana, as I was just saying, the proof is in the pudding. Our price is falling as we speak. It's pretty thick. We're starting to fall. Everything's starting to fall. So for the guy who said, should we buy right now? Wait a bit. Maybe wait to about $105. Maybe put a buy order in. $105.20 maybe. Something like that. I think we're going to retract a bit. But like I said, if Bitcoin does something crazy, like going upwards more, something happens, some news comes out, the ETFs have done a backflip and everyone's got 10 times their money by accident, the money just goes up, something stupid like that, then yeah, the price will probably not move how I'm saying. However, we can see, as long as what's going on right now is happening, we're going really negative right now. I would probably put a short in for Solana right now. Not financial advice. So for that guy who wants $5, put a short in. Look, watch, ready? I think it's going to go to about here. So maybe put a 15x or whatever that may be, roughly a 15x, and put $6 in on a 15x. That's not going to work. Put $10 in, maybe $12 in on a 15x. And you'll get about $7. So if you want $5, maybe do this. Not financial advice. But if you want $7, do that. And it might take, I don't know how long, a couple hours. So just go to sleep, wake up, and you'll be $8 richer. And you don't have to yap on at me to give you $5. I'm never going to do it in my life. So after so much talking from me, most of you probably fallen asleep, and I wouldn't blame you. I'm actually going to start to move on to the user asked coins. So the first one's going to be Litecoin, because that was the first one who was asked for me. I think I have drawn already. Yeah, so Okay, so let me hold on. Need some water. Throat dry. So covered it on Monday. So about here. So I think the guy was saying, I think someone else, I think someone in the chat asked for like, I'm not too sure, but I know Seha. Let me go read his message. I can't remember exactly what he said, but I think he said I'm giving up on Litecoin, and I've got no hope of Litecoin. So I will try and hopefully give you hope. He said, any hope for Litecoin? Kind of feel like giving up on it. So I'm hopefully going to give him good news that's going to go up or something like that. But let's have a look. Obviously, it has gone up pretty good. So last time I covered it Monday, we kind of we kind of bounced. Okay, we didn't really. Okay, I'm going to delete that because we didn't really do what I said. Even God could make a mistake. Even the Oracle himself. Sometimes things don't move how they're supposed to move, and that's okay. It was a simple little hour. It wasn't anything too crazy. Actually, I do want to look at. I think it was Tron or something like that. I think I covered Tron or something like that. I said do a long. I was pretty confident in long. I think it did go up. Anyway, regardless, $70 was a consistent price point over here we saw. So, and if I go on the 30-minute, you'll probably see it's a bit easier. What have I been saying about every coin pretty much? Solana, everything. Consistent price point, bounce, 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 bounce. Not really over here. And then we had a quick surge upwards, tested it at support, and then we came upwards. Huzzah. Who would have thought? The same things happened every single time. Okay. I'm quickly going to draw. Let me go here. There we go. I'm quickly going to draw this. Okay. Actually, probably do this. Oh, interesting. Okay, so seems like we do have some slight resistance point there for our money. I'm going to point out probably something over here. I'm going to delete this quickly. We might have another consistent price point. Okay, we might have some over here as well. So I've got two lines. Perfect. We have seemingly reached this high price point, about $72.13. So the big surge might be over. However, we have seen consistency at $71.77. And we have quickly kind of pretty much stayed above this. So we might have a terribly terrible situation of being within this 50% range. Breaking this price point, even if we did break it, we only really have, if I could get my percentage out, we only really have a 80% move upwards. So it's nothing really crazy. So I wouldn't, put all your money on along and make millions. But, I don't really think, it seems as though what's going on right now, momentum can't really move, it's getting up there. It's quite heavily up there. So I wouldn't suggest, it's going to go up really heavily. It's starting to show signs. We should probably see something move downwards. VWAP, it's nearing the zero mark. It's not too negative, or it's kind of neutral, but we are going downwards. So, as I see it right now, bearish. Money flow, however, is coming upwards. Not too positive, but is coming upwards. So we probably see ourselves. I've drunk so much water, I'm starting to get burps now. Now I see two things going on here. We're starting to go upwards. We could see ourselves maybe, stay in this range, maybe bounce off this again. Probably stay a bit range bound. But I wouldn't suggest we're going to stay in this range for like days. We're either going to break above this support point, maybe come up to testing here, but that would be really hard to do. We could have a situation similar with, I think, how Ethereum was doing and whatnot, where, if I get the pen out, where we kind of break above this, really quickly test it, and then come up to the top again to $72.68. However, we don't have really a lot of room to move. So I don't know how I don't know how that's really going to happen. I don't know if that's going to really be the 100% play, which Litecoin is going to go over. So I'm not going to suggest that too crazy. But what could happen is we come down and actually just break this point, because we're not really too heavily above this. We haven't tested it a bunch of times. We've only quickly come above it. So I wouldn't be surprised if we came back down to our previous support point, down here about $70.70, which we've already tested before. So that'd be about a 1.7% move for Litecoin. Don't think that's too crazy to say. Let me draw my path. So I'm gonna draw two paths now, because we could see. I'm gonna kind of draw this path to try and get that in there. Our red pill, blue pill situation, and maybe have another situation where we maybe do something like that. Maybe. I don't think I'm gonna make this like a, I don't know, how can I make this? I'm gonna make this like a lower opacity, because I don't really think that's gonna happen as much. I don't really have a lot of faith in that, but you never know. Like I said, with Bitcoin, if Bitcoin continues to go up crazy and all the market kind of moves with it, this will probably be the sort of action. But I think we might, if we might stay above this price point a bit more. I think we might retract though. I think we might have a retraction to about $70.70, $71, whatever it is. I don't really have a lot of upwards movement for Litecoin. So say how if you have Litecoin bought, I don't think it's going to crazily go up anymore. Again, like I said, depending how the market moves right now, we're still reaching these. Our legs are kind of shaking right now, knees a bit knobbly. We're still kind of like juggling. Are we going to go up? Are we going to not go up? Bitcoin's going up. Okay, I'm going to go up as well. We're kind of in the air. Like I said at the start stream, a lot of things are going to be in the air right now. So we're going to see how things move. We're going to have to keep this watched with a close eye. But this is our high point. But again, like I said, this isn't really a consistent point. To be fair, we bounced off it here, and then bounced off it here. But every time we bounced off it, we had a little bit of a movement upwards and came right back down. So we did it here, as you can see. If I get the pen out, bounced off it, came up a bit and then came down. Bounced off it, came quite up a bit to be fair, and then came all the way down. So if we kind of translate this action to over here, bounce off it, use it as resistance. As I was saying, we bounced off it and then came up to a top point and then came back down. So that top point, like I said, could either be within this range and then come down, or probably be bouncing off this resistance point, which is quite a heavy resistance point, seeing as though it is Fibonacci, bouncing off this resistance point, coming down to where we were before. So I don't think Solana's going to have, Litecoin's going to have a crazy move upwards, or we're going to have something, a Hail Mary. So I think, I don't have a lot of bullish sentiment on Litecoin. But always prefacing that, if Bitcoin does something crazy, we could see a movement upwards again for Litecoin. Similar to how I've said with everything else. But I'm going to move on to ADA now. In case you've been waiting here for, an hour, however long the stream has been. So finally, I want time to move on to ADA so you can actually see what's going on. So it seems like we've got 64 cent as our resistance point, which is pretty good. That's pretty far away, so we've still got some room to move. Similar situation with Litecoin actually, where we've, what? Got an idea. I want to see how similar they are. Take a screenshot of that. Can I move that there? I don't think I can I? There we go. So the momentum and the money flow is looking pretty similar, if I do say so myself. We've got a slightly arcing upwards money flow. We've got our VWAP, which is coming downwards, which had a bit of a bump and then continues to come downwards, similar to how we saw over here. And our momentum is basically at the 60 mark, still kind of coming upwards, not really arcing too much. So Litecoin and ADA are in a pretty similar situation. So let's see how this moves. Have we got any other resistance points or support points? It's kind of hard to say within this range because it's not really something to. Okay, what I will draw is an order block square. These are similarly big, and we did bounce off the midpoint of this. So I will suggest this. Okay, interestingly, we bounced off it pretty exactly here. So with ADA, I wouldn't be surprised to say that we might retract to 60, nearly 61 cents. I wouldn't be surprised if we had a 1.7% movement. It's textbook this, or not textbook. It's in the stars. Litecoin, I think there's a 1.7% move downwards, or whatever. I can't remember what exactly I said. I think it was about 1.7. ADA 1.76. I think they kind of have a similar movement downwards with each other. So I wouldn't be surprised again, like I said, to come down again. Money flow is positive, but it's starting to arc upwards again. So like I said with Litecoin, I wouldn't be surprised. I keep on saying, I think I would wonder, if there was an algorithm to put my stream in to tell me what my most consistent phrase was for the stream. I think today's stream would probably be, I wouldn't be surprised to see. I think I must have said that about like 50 times now. But I wouldn't be surprised to see our price kind of maybe hover at this point, maybe come into it, maybe even possibly, if I do say so myself, come to 63 cent. Pretty crazy, I know. Possibly even come to that point, but ultimately coming down to this 60.8, whatever you say, 60 cent point. I need a sip of water. I need to masquerade my inability to talk with a sip of water. I won't be. I need to switch it up. I need to stop saying that. Okay, let me think. I need a different phrase. It wouldn't shock me to say. No, that's not very good. Let me think of one. Does anyone have a phrase I could use for? I wouldn't be surprised if. It wouldn't blindside myself if this situation was to happen. It wouldn't be surprised. I don't know. I'm having I'm having a choke right now. I don't know what to say. It wouldn't surprise me if we moved down to this 60.8% range. I don't know what else to say. I don't think we would move. I don't think that's too crazy to say. 1.7% move downwards. Very similar to how I said with Litecoin. I don't know what else to say really. So that's really it for ADA. Realize Microsoft's not there. Yeah, I mean yellow. Yeah, I'm not gonna bother looking. You know what, Mark Cipher? Apart from the EMA, I don't really use this. I don't really care for it. The EMA is pretty important though sometimes, especially with when the EMA meets a resistance point or support point, it does move pretty heavily. But yeah, I'm not gonna get into that. That's literally it. I'm not educationally talking about that because it doesn't matter. So I think that's kind of what's gonna happen with ADA. Very simple analysis, nothing too crazy. Now, okay, you're lucky. There is a platform which has Dino on it, so I'm gonna look at Dino. Bilal, hey bro, hello, welcome to the stream. I'm gonna look. Okay, so Dino, then Ryoshi, then Near. I think that's it. Obviously, if you've got a coin, I'm not gonna do too many more coins, so maybe one more. So if someone that has a quick fingers and wants to type their coin and want me to look at, I will look at it. But if you don't, no one wants me to cover any more coins, that is pretty fine. So Dino, these are one of these coins which moves pretty crazy, which has these consistently meh wicks. So let's have a look. So we're pretty much above what we've seen previously. Now let's go to where we were. So where's the top point? Okay, here we go. Now we've got something. So seems like this was a kind of price point we've seen consistently. Trying to look for some consistencies. Is there any other price points? So we can kind of see maybe kind of have to squint your eyes and kind of look for a price point. Kind of here maybe, because look, we can kind of see kind of it over here, bounced off it here, bounced off it here, here and here. Okay, I'm gonna use that. 3.2 cents is a point. Okay, so we bounced off this resistance point we've already seen. Good consistency. Okay, you know what? I'm not even gonna say anything else. We're going down for Dino. Not financial advice. We're going down. Oh my god, this is perfect. Look at this. Money flow going down. VWAP negative going down. Money flow, momentum wave, very going down. And 87. It is above 60, going down. Dino's going down. Where to? I'd put a long in. Whoops, that's a long one. I mean a short, sorry. Maybe, okay, let's see what we can do. This is a pretty consistent price point. I want to try and get a good ratio. Free, okay, I don't want to do free. 2.3 risk reward ratio, not too bad. I wouldn't, yeah. I think we're going to go down to about this support point here. The market cipher is literally everything's telling us to go down. Again, if Bitcoin starts to absolutely rocket up, I can't remember exactly what I said for Bitcoin because it's been so long, because I've talked for so long. If Bitcoin decides to absolutely just rocket upwards again, for whatever reason it may have, you know, we will probably have a positive movement, especially since this is what seems to be a lower cap coin. I haven't really done research into it. I don't know. Maybe this is a long term. It's a strong buy. Obviously, you know, it's not like it's going to go down anytime soon, or it's not like it's going to go too quickly down. 6.9%. Even if you did a 10x, I don't know what the stop loss or the liquidation point for a 10x would be. If you did a 10x, that would be 70%. But this is only really on one platform. Obviously, this might be on. I'm not sure what chain or anything this is on. I don't have any research into this, but you could probably do it on one of these, like, you know, Bird Eye, you know, easier Uniswap coin exchanges, which can allow for coins quicker. Again, like I said, I don't know what exchange this is on, or what chain this is on, or anything like that. So yeah, but wherever you can buy it, wherever you can, not financial advice, But for the guy who asked for it, can't remember your name. I think it's going to go down. Regardless of where the platform, I think it's going to go down. Like literally everything is going downwards. So short, not financial advice. So right, next one is Ryoshi. Do we have anything here? We don't have that. Okay, I don't know what platform this is. I can go look to get this on. Let me go quickly try and find where this is. Let me see if there's any tokens anywhere or any areas. Okay, I can't. It's not on a charting platform which I can quickly go find. So I'm not going to go look into that. I'm very sorry. Maybe next stream I'll record it, put it in our Telegram, send it to me. I'll go find an actual chart for it and I'll go draw on it. But we're literally, I want to kind of keep it 10:30. I want to end. So if I just cover the next one, then it'll kind of finish up. So near, okay, perfect. We've got near. I don't want to do it on. Oh, okay, I like this because this certain area which I'm on right now, which this chart on, it does update its price pretty fast. So have we seen a price point any higher than we have? We have, perfect. So let me go back and have a look. So okay, consistencies which we can probably find. It looks like this price point was pretty consistent. This general area looks pretty consistent. We bounced off it twice, nearly bounced off it here, bounced off it numerous times, came below it, and over here. So I'm going to kind of draw this. $4.30 looks like something pretty considerable. So now if we translate this and go back to where we are right now, this is kind of the midpoint. We're kind of in the midpoint of this range we're in. We're quite, above where we are right now. If I go over here, so interestingly, we're actually, the momentum looking like it's starting to arc upwards again. We can see this consistently over here, but more importantly is money flow, especially on 1 hour, and we are going up. So, and VWAP is going up as well. So we do have some positive movement, especially when in pretty much everything. So again, wouldn't be surprised if it was like a move upwards and then a kind of dip down and then move upwards again. But I think, seeing that we are heavily overbought, I think we only really have enough room to move. Maybe 3. Obviously, this is probably a lower cap coin, so it probably has enough percentage to move. Max we'll see is $4.30. We do have positive money flow, but it's not really. To be fair, when our money flow arced downwards, if we can maybe draw this, we can kind of see it kind of arced. If I have this line here, money flow kind of bounced off this line here and then came downwards. And then we bounced off it again, and now we're starting to arc and bounce off it. So we're nearing our money flow to be the highest point we've seen. So I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know if we're going to exactly reach $4.30. I don't think we have that much positive movement, considering the fact our momentum is so, we should go down. We're very negative, or we're very overbought. We should come down. We should be negative. Money flow doesn't look like it has much more room to go upwards before we start to arc downwards. VWAP again, we are negative, which is bearish. However, we are starting to come upwards, but it can change very fast. So VWAP isn't something I would pay too much attention to. But if you're on the 5-minute chart, you could trade just based off the VWAP and support and resistance. So take that as you will. But we're on the 1 hour, so I do think we don't have too much to move. Maybe like another 0.5%. I don't really think we're gonna go too much up. I could be not pleasantly. I could be wrong. I don't know if it would be pleasant if you were to short. But max above up there. If I was to put it where we are right now, probably the lowest point there. With these lower coins, which actually have moved pretty more rapidly, they are actually more consistent on support and resistance points. So I bear that in mind. So if we had what's a good risk reward ratio? We could actually have, it's about 6.3 again, similar to with Dino FG. If we were to come down to a support point and we had our stop loss, that's a considerably high stop loss. Obviously, it's 2-to-1. It's about a 3% stop loss, which is pretty decent. So, I wouldn't be surprised if this was kind of the play for near. So I wouldn't be surprised for a short to be decent. But the VWAP is kind of going up. Or the money flow is kind of going upwards. I don't think it's going to go too much higher. We should see ourselves kind of retract to the support point. But maybe put it on the 3.95 or 3.92 or $3.92. Just in case, you do want to use a bit of a padding on the support and resistance points. But you know, it is in your judgment to trade on this. Not financial advice, but I do think near might come down, similar to how Dino will be. So it is 10:26. So we're actually 4 minutes earlier. I have this pain in my nose. I think I need to sneeze. I don't want to blow the microphone up. It really hurts. Anyway, we're basically, or my time anyway, we're basically about 3 minutes away from 10:30. So we're actually pretty close to when I said I did want to end. So obviously, if you want me to cover any coins, you've greatly missed your opportunity to post it. So, you know, I think the only place you could probably go to right now is go to our Telegram, put it in the trading area. I can cover it on I don't know if we're doing anything Wednesday. I think we might be talking to somebody about something. I'll get the details. Michael know more. He might have said it during his stream. So I don't know if I'll stream trading on Wednesday. I might do Friday. Mike said, you know, oh yeah, just leave it on a Friday because we do Saturdays. But you know, if I'm feeling it, we might do Friday as a trading stream. But you know, if it's not Friday, I will be on Saturday. We'll be doing a normal stream on Saturday. But you know, if you do have any coins you want to cover, I do sometimes cover coins during our quiz. I won't be doing as many coins as I have done today. But if you do have any coins you want to look at, I can probably look at them either Friday or Saturday on stream. So do go to Telegram trading area, post it in there. Perfect. If you do want any of these indicators, all the indicators I'm actually using right now, you can come to the Telegram and ask me for, and I will give you them. So I didn't even see this. We've got a red dot here. This red dot is signal. Obviously, we have these small red dots here, which signify the red dot change. However, these thick, big red dots on the market cipher B are actually what they say local points of, you know, a local high or a local low. So this is actually a local high. So we've got a lot of things telling us we should come down from here. But I'm doing the outro. It's beside the point. If you don't want it, again, any coins, trading area, any of these indicators, come to trading area. Want to ask me any questions? Telegram. I think that's about it. You know, hopefully that was some good TA. I mean, I think it's pretty good TA. It's been a pretty exciting. Whenever I stream, there's something always exciting happens before the stream. So these streams are always pretty exciting with price action. So if you do trade in any of the things I've told you, and it does go well, come post a screenshot in the trading area. I'd love to see if people did act upon my my analysis and it did actually go positive. But again, none of it's financial advice. Trade review and risk. TA, no matter how, you could be the best TA. You could be me, the best TA drawer in the world, and still it could still go wrong because TA doesn't mean 100%. You know, I don't have a crystal ball, can't tell the future. But you know, if anyone does trade on my advice, yeah, do go check it out. There's been some situations. I think API free. Unfortunately, Jason, the other guy in my heart, you know, he was trying to trade on API free, trying to do a short. I said be careful with it. It didn't go too well. I could probably go check it right now. But you know, again, trading and risk. But some of these trades look pretty good. Dino and Near obviously is on. I think it's on more platforms. So if you were going to take a trade, 6% move downwards, pretty decent. I think the last trade I did on Monday, I think it was on Tron or Avalanche. I think that went pretty well. It was about a 1% move. So I said do a 50 next, but I was pretty adamant on it. So that was a good trade as well. Again, like I said, if you do trade, put a screenshot in. But I've said everything now. I've said my piece. Thank you so much to all of you joining. I've seen some very nice comments. Thank you, and obviously some people begging for money. I have, you know, I've ripped them a new one already, so I'm not going to do it again. But you know, thank you for all the consistent people joining, all the new people who liked and you know subscribed, whatever. Thank you so much. Thank you for all the nice comments. It's been very nice. And you know, I hope we're all very rich in the future. I think we will be with how the cryptocurrency is going. So thank you so much. I'm going to alt tab now, and I will see you in the next stream, which will probably, I think we're doing some on Wednesday. I think we're doing not analysis, but like a talk stream. I can't remember who it was with and the name of the person and the company. But I think we are doing some on Wednesday, so I'll probably see you guys Wednesday if you do come join us. If not, Friday or Saturday. And that's it. I think that's about it. So goodbye. I'll see some of you. Hopefully, if some of you haven't already joined Telegram and do join Telegram, I hope to see some of you soon. So yeah, I've yapped on. I'm delaying the end. Goodbye.